Let's transition to some NBA. And I want to talk about that Melo fella out there in LA. Y'all know last night, the LA Lakers, they beat the Memphis Grizzlies 121-118. Melo scored a team high 28 points, moving into ninth place on the NBA career scoring list. He had, 6 of 8 from three-point range. Melo went 10 of 15 shooting overall. He was absolutely sensational. Melo, 28 points in 27 minutes. And he showed why he deserves to be a member of the 75th anniversary team. I heard a lot of rumblings last week after the 75 greatest players were announced. Some people wanted to question whether or not Carmelo Anthony deserved to be on the 75 greatest players list. And Melo just showed you why last night, why he is one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. 28 points in 27 minutes, 10 of 15 shooting from the floor, 6 of 8 from three-point range, and he had 12 points in the fourth quarter. And the Lakers needed all of his points. They needed all of his points because this was a game where Ja Morant was dominating the Lakers. He had 40 points, 10 assists. He shot 13 of 21 from the floor, 5 of 7 from three-point range. He played great. And if it wasn't for his missed free throw at the end of the game, this game would have went into overtime, and ain't no telling what would have happened. And it's a possibility the Lakers could have fallen to 0-3 on the season. But Melo, man, was he big time last night. He was big time. And Carmelo Anthony has always been an elite scorer. And he showed also why he has a legit chance to win the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award. He got a shot. He really, really do. For his career, the man is averaged 23 points per game on 45% shooting from the floor. You remember in his days when he was playing with the Denver Nuggets, Melo was a bona fide superstar. Now, he didn't have the playoff success we all wanted him to have. He came up short in the postseason multiple years. But I also believe Carmelo never had a supporting cast like a LeBron James has had, like a Dwayne Wade has had in his career. He hasn't. And you remember in Denver, Melo didn't have another superstar player to play alongside him. I mean, that one year they got to the Western Conference Finals. They ran into Kobe Bryant, RIP to the Black Mamba, and they lost in 6 games. I believe it was the 2009 Western Conference Finals. But Melo was a problem. And when Kobe talked about the hardest players to guard in the NBA, Melo was at the top of his list. He talked about how great Melo was because Melo is so strong. And you saw, and you remember, in the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers in 2009, Melo, he took on that challenge of guarding Kobe. Like, he actually played some defense in that matchup in the Western Conference Finals between the Nuggets and the Lakers. He's been, criticized because he doesn't play defense. Melo plays defense when he wants to. And that's been a lot of people's issue with Melo throughout the course of his career. But he showed in the Western Conference Finals in 2009 that when the moment presents itself, Melo can play some nice defense. He's not a great lockdown defender like Michael Jordan, like Kawhi Leonard, like Kobe Bryant, like LeBron James. He's not a great lockdown defender. He never has been. But can he play great team defense? Absolutely. And that's what you saw Kobe Bryant talk about in his interviews when he discussed Carmelo Anthony. And I got a question for everyone out there. Have we ever seen a better all-around scorer from the perimeter? Besides Carmelo Anthony? Like, besides Michael Jordan, besides Kobe Bryant, besides Kevin Durant, Have we ever seen a great perimeter scorer like Melo? Now, I know everyone's going to say, oh my God, LeBron James, he is on the top 5 scoring list for the most points in NBA history. LeBron James is not the all-around scorer that Carmelo Anthony is. Melo is a better perimeter shooter than LeBron is. Melo is a better free throw shooter than LeBron is. And Melo is a better mid-range shooter than LeBron James is. Now, LeBron James is better than Melo as far as attacking the rim. And even in Melo's prime, he was pretty good at attacking the rim as well, but not as great as LeBron. But LeBron is not a better all-around scorer than Carmelo Anthony. Dwayne Wade, he's the 3rd greatest shooting guard in NBA history behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But Dwayne Wade, he wasn't as gifted as a scorer as Carmelo Anthony is. He's a great scorer, but Dwayne Wade never had the range that Carmelo had. Dwayne Wade never created mismatches like Carmelo did on the low block. I mean, he's 6'8", and if you put a slow big man on him, he can blow right past him and get to the rim. If you put a defender on him who's 6'3", 6'4", Melo can rise right over them and shoot the mid-range jump shot on the low block. So Melo has always been an elite scorer. He has been a problem since he's been in the NBA in his 19 seasons. I wish people would stop disrespecting this man. I'm a Melo fan, but I believe Melo is big time. You remember 2 years ago, teams didn't even want to sign Melo. Are you serious? One of the greatest scorers in NBA history? You're telling me that Carmelo Anthony didn't deserve to be on an NBA roster? I told people they were crazy then, and I'll say it today. You are out of your mind if you believe Carmelo Anthony does not deserve to be on an NBA roster. It's laughable. There are not over 400 NBA players that are better than Carmelo Anthony. Never was. So he had a great game last night. And he honestly was the reason why the Lakers were able to win this game. Now, one of my other big takeaways watching the Lakers and the Grizzlies last night, in 37 minutes, Russell Westbrook, he had a higher usage rate than Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And in those 37 minutes, this is Westbrook. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 13 assists, 9 turnovers. He shot 5 of 15 from the floor, 1 of 4 from three-point range. He's one of the worst superstars that shoots the three ball. One of the worst. I mean, he's one of the worst in NBA history. Like 1 of 4 from three-point range. Russ, please stop shooting perimeter shots. You're not Steph Curry. You're not Klay Thompson. You're not Kyrie Irving. You're not Damian Lillard. Russ, stop shooting so many damn three-point shots. Like 4 3-point field goal attempts. I want Russ to maybe shoot like 1 a game, if that. Give him 1 just because he's playing a great game. If he's playing an outstanding game and he's distributing the basketball the way a point guard is supposed to, hell, let him shoot 1 3-point shot if the Lakers are winning. They winning, let Russ shoot 1 3-point shot. But him shooting 4, 6, 7 perimeter shots is not good for the Lakers. It's not good. And yesterday, he was very inefficient. Russ, he had more turnovers with 9 than made field goal attempts with 5 yesterday. And then in the final 8 minutes and 8 seconds, this is when Westbrook re-entered the game. In the fourth quarter, he went 0 of 2 from the field. 0 points, 3 turnovers, 1 assist, 1 rebound in the fourth quarter. That is not going to get it done from your star point guard. I love Russell Westbrook, but I mentioned on the show last week that Russ may have to come off the bench in order for this Lakers team to be successful. I don't really see Russell fitting in with LeBron James, who also is a ball dominant player. And last night, in usage rate, it went Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. He finished 4th in total usage rate. No, for the Lakers to be successful, that's not good. That cannot happen. Like, you need LeBron James to lead this team in usage rate. He is the playmaker, and he's, alongside Rondo, the best passer on this Lakers team. Rajon Rondo is a tremendous passer as well. I don't know who's better at passing the ball between LeBron and Rondo. They about even to me, honestly. They both are tremendous passers. But Westbrook cannot lead your team in usage rate. It's a recipe for disaster. 9 turnovers is too much. It's too much. And it's going to cost the Lakers games as the season goes along. That's why I think Russ has a better opportunity to play with the second unit to be successful. Put Russ in with Melo and Malik Monk and, Dwight Howard and, even Austin Reeves, who actually played well, by the way, last night. Austin Reeves, in 17 minutes of action, he only had 4 points, but he had 3 great assists. 3 great assists, and made some big-time plays for the Lakers in the fourth quarter. And there was another key stat that was very, ironic. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Every Lakers starter in the plus-minus department was minus last night. Every Lakers starter was minus. Every Grizzlies starter was a plus in the plus-minus department. Every Lakers bench player was a plus in the plus-minus department, and every Grizzlies bench player was a minus in the plus-minus department. That is something that's very unusual. I've never seen that before, ever. Like, where one team has all of its starters all minus, one team has all of its starters plus, one team has all of its bench players plus, and one team has all of its bench players a minus. I've never seen that before. Very, very unusual. And those are my takeaways from the game. Russell Westbrook's turnovers were a problem for the Lakers, and if he doesn't clean this up, it's going to be a problem for the Lakers as the season goes along. And again, in the fourth quarter, Russ was awful. He was awful. And then that plus minus statistic I just talked about. And again, Ja Morant, he was great. And all of those people that said that Ja Morant is going to have a better career than Zion, they're looking real good right now. I know we got a long way to go. We got a lot of basketball to be played throughout the course of their 2 careers. Because I want Zion healthy. I know he came into camp overweight with the Pelicans, but I want Zion playing basketball at a high level, just like Ja Morant is playing basketball at a high level for the Grizzlies. But so far, Ja Morant, he has outperformed Zion Williamson and has led his team to the postseason, something Zion has not done. Now, Zion is playing in New Orleans, and their organization is not very good. They're not very good. They got David Griffin as general manager, and I've had my questions about David Griffin and if he can, lead a team as a general manager and put the right pieces in place around Zion. But Ja Morant has led his team to the postseason. Zion has not. Ja Morant is more durable than Zion. So, coming into that draft, I said maybe the Pelicans should consider drafting Ja Morant. But they had Lonzo Ball, at the time, so they didn't need Ja Morant. But Ja Morant's better than Lonzo Ball. That's not even a question. He's significantly better than Lonzo. But Ja Morant's big time. He's big time, man. And besides, though, that missed free throw that would have tied the game up and sent the game to overtime, he played great last night. He played great. Another thing for the Lakers, their first 15 games are at Staples. And so let me read their next 10 games. At Spurs, at OKC, home against the Cavaliers, home against the Rockets, home against the Rockets again, home against the Thunder, at Blazers, home against the Hornets, home against the Heat, and home against the Timberwolves. So honestly, as a Laker fan, for one season, I'm happy that the first 15 games of the season, 12 of those games will be played at Staples because it gives the Lakers an opportunity to develop some chemistry, and everyone on the team can know their roles as we get later into the season and get closer to the All-Star break. You know, by the All-Star break, I want everyone to know their roles, and I want the chemistry to be developed for this Lakers team. We got a lot of big-time names on this team, a lot of big-time names. You got Carmelo Anthony. You got LeBron James. You got Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook, Rajon Rondo. I mean, the list goes on and on. All of these players are proven veterans in the NBA and have major accomplishments. So I would like for the Lakers to develop some chemistry in these first 15 games of the season. That way, when we get close to Christmas and the All-Star break, the Lakers can hit their stride and be one of the best teams in the Western Conference and possibly compete for a number one overall seed in the West and have, you know, home court advantage in the playoffs. That's what I'm looking forward to for the Lakers, you know, in these first 15 games, you know, and 12 of those games being played at Staples.